Inside this box is everything I need to make a completely brand new Game Boy Color. And when I say brand new, I mean it's literally going to have no original components in it whatsoever. Now you might have seen videos from me in the past where I have modified original hardware, like this up here. This is an original Game Boy Color. It's had a new shell and a new screen, which makes it look nice like this. So it's backlit and it's a bit bigger than the original screen, and in general it's just a lot nicer. But primarily it's got original hardware inside. It's got the original motherboard, it takes batteries, AA, just like the original, and on this particular model it's got the original buttons. The difference with what's in this box, however, is that everything is brand new, including the motherboard, the buttons, the shell, the screen, everything. There are no original Nintendo components that will go into this new Game Boy Color. And the reason for that is that it is using FPGA technology. And if you've heard of FPGA before, it's probably because of this. This is the Analogue Pocket. It too uses FPGA technology, and that's so that it can replicate the hardware rather than using software emulation, which means it can run original cartridges, and that's exactly what can be done with the system in this box. The company that made the laminated IPS display for this Game Boy Color modification is Funny Playing, and they are the people that also made everything in this box, which will create a new, quote-unquote new Game Boy Color. Obviously it's not actually a Game Boy Color because everything is non-Nintendo original hardware, but I think you're going to struggle to find the difference between this and what we're about to build. So let's do it. Okay, so what's actually in the box? Let's put it to one side. I have some new rubber membranes for the buttons. I have a new shell. I've got some new buttons, the stickers for the back of the shell, and the thing that makes it all happen is in this box, which is the brand new motherboard with the FPGA chip on it. A new laminated IPS display, new speaker, and a new battery. So I think the kit comes with these parts. Here, this is everything you get in the kit here, and then you have to pick a shell and buttons. The shell comes with the stickers, but all of this is additional cost to all of this in the kit. Obviously, if you've got your own buttons from a original console and you want to try and modify a shell, or you already have a shell, then you wouldn't need to get any of that stuff, but otherwise you could just get this kit. I haven't actually got any instructions for this, so I'm hoping it's going to be fairly simple. You can see it's a completely, so the FP GBC. I'm hoping it's going to be completely plug and play, because that's the chip there that does the business. So I figure I'm just going to start opening stuff, and I guess I can figure out how it goes together. So I decided to go for a black shell so that I could compare it to my original reshelled white console. This isn't a Funny Playing shell. This is actually a Retro 6 shell, I think. So although I don't know if they're a reseller, because they look very similar. Don't know, maybe they resell the Funny Playing shells. But yeah, I figured original console in white, new console in black, be quite cool. So I guess I just plug and play. So it says to test the screen before installing it in the shell. So we're going to need to attach the battery. So I'm guessing it's gonna plug in down here somewhere because that's the card slot. There's a plus sign here. This is outlined for the battery, so I'm gonna take a wild guess. So I think the battery goes in there like that, and then obviously the screen's going to sit here, and the ribbon cable. Okay, so there looks like there's a place for it here. It's supposed to go in like that. I think it's going to go like that, isn't it? I would imagine. There we go. Something's happening. And it's definitely doing some sort of lighting up thing. So I need to figure out there we go. So if I clamp that in, that seems like it's in properly. Looks like the on switch was already on, which is probably not ideal, but we are where we are. Let's get a cartridge. I've got an original copy of Tetris here. Plug that onto the back of the board, and then we can turn the switch back on. Success! So it looks like the screen is working. So I think it's going to be relatively straightforward from here. Obviously we've got to add the speaker in, and it seems kind of like all you need to do. I'm guessing I may need to undo the battery and route it through the hole in here rather than how I've got it now, but I think we're pretty straight to the finish. So I think I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to unplug this battery, and I'm going to unplug the screen to take this cartridge off. Flip it over. And start to put the parts actually into the shell. So I think the first thing is the battery, which probably, I guess, doesn't particularly matter which way around you do it. And we can feed the wire through there, and you can see that's going to sit in there just as if it was designed to do so. So that's that part. Then the screen needs one of these on it, which I messed up. When I put this screen in, I messed putting on this sticker on the back, and I tried to peel it off, and you can probably just see there and here there's a little bit of the screen coming away, and I think that's because me pulling the sticker rather than being a fault with the screen. So I'm going to try and do that without messing it up this time. But who knows? Let's see. Perhaps I will be 2 for 2. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's better than it was on the other one, but it grabs so quickly that kind of committed once you put it down. There you are. What can you do? I think it'll be fine. So now this screen has got to slot into this case. Which was simple. When I did this, it took a long time because this case was not designed for this screen and I had to do a whole bunch of cutting. I could have just bought a new one, but I kind of liked it and I had it, so you know what you're gonna do. So there's actually some adhesive on the back of here, so as that slots in so easily, I'm gonna go all in. Okay, so that in there, that through there. And then push that down. Interesting difference between the screen, the RPS panel from Funny Playing for the original Game Boy Color, and this FP GBC is that obviously this has got no branding on the screen. So I don't know, I think the screen is bigger than it is on the Color, which means you don't get the branding, and this actually lights up and you can change the color of it and stuff on this model. You don't get the power light. So that's the first thing I noticed between the two screens before they're turned on next to each other. So screen's in. Next thing to do, that's gonna have to go there and there. So let's put that in there. There we go. Clamp that down. Lovely. Let's investigate the speaker. Comes in a nice little box. You could use that for something after the fact. In fact, I might well. Handy. So I'm guessing this speaker is going to be a lot nicer than the original one, which I didn't bother to change on the Color. Not really sure where that gasket's supposed to go. Not really sure where the speaker's supposed to plug in either. It obviously locates on this pin and that goes below there. So if that's for the battery, is it this thing? Ah, okay. Is that supposed to come off? I think that's probably supposed to come off, which means the speaker goes in here. Is this rubber thing, is that just for shipping? Or is that supposed to, I think that's probably supposed to go on the front like that. That makes more sense. There we go. Okay. So if I spin that so it's like that. So that's obviously got to go on before that. Sits in there like that. My guess is if I'd have looked up some instructions, I probably would have done it by now. But where's the fun in that? Maybe like that. That's better. That seems like a better fit. Maybe if I turn it a little bit more. Yeah, you need those contacts to be out of the way so that can sit nice and flat. Okay, I think we're good. I'm assuming that that's not going to go back in. I'm assuming that this is going to come over the top here. I mean, that seems kind of wacky. Let's go down on top of it like a plug, right? There we go, like that. Cool, dude. Right, okay. Oh, something just fell off there. Look at that, a piece of solder just fell off. I wonder if that's going to be significant when this thing doesn't fire up in a minute. You guys all saw it. It wasn't because I broke it, it's because something fell out. Is it a good time to put the buttons in? Probably a good time to put the buttons in. I've got an IR sensor here as well that I need to remember to put in. On-off button needs to go on, or switch, should I say, on-off switch. Let's get these buttons and membranes out. I went for OG colours on the buttons. Well, you seem to get a choice of IR sensors with the buttons as well as with the case. So I could actually have 3 different colours. This one's black, this one's grey, and this one's the kind of purple colour. I think I might go for that because that's quite cool. And then just black membranes. I tried to do a bit of a match for this one but I thought it'd be cool to have pop of colour, because otherwise it might be a bit black. Put that in. A button. B button. Start select. The membrane for D-pad. And the membrane for A and B. That seems all good. Going for that IR sensor. Which way round is it? It's kind of like the long bit towards the front. I mean, as far as I can tell, this hasn't actually got an IR sensor. But it's got the... I don't know. No, don't think so. I don't think so. And then we need a switch. Okay, that seems good. I think we stick some screws in. I feel like there should be 2 sets of screws. Have I lost a set of screws? How many for the case? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 case screws plus 2 in there. So there's 6 case screws from the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's 2 short ones. I mean, I'm gonna take a guess that the 2 short ones are here at the top. That's wild. They are actually tri-screws. I thought they would be just regular ones. But, you know, what's the point? Luckily, I have tri-wing screws in here, so I can accommodate that. I'm going to go for the short ones in here because that seems to make sense. Ah, these ones aren't. Okay. Just as I was saying that it was wild. I've been caught out. I could be doing this electrically, so I'm gonna. I think all the rest of these screws go through the case. So connect the battery up. Oh, it's on. Jump the gun, but that's at least, I mean, obviously the speaker's working because we can hear it. Does that? Why doesn't this seems a bit kind of, I want this to fit in a bit nicer. This doesn't seem to be closing, so I actually think that maybe all of the screws go in after the fact, which seems kind of wild to me, but also seems to be the case. No pun intended. Yeah, see? It's not man enough to do it. I think that's probably the right size. Let's go bigger. There we go. So now I don't know what's short screw and what's long screw. I sure hope these screws haven't broken the screen, because that would be a bummer. This is why people do this kind of stuff on a live stream, so people can say in the comments, "You're an idiot, you need to do it the different way." It doesn't feel like it fits properly, so I don't know what's going on here. Do you think that's just going to compress when I tighten it up? Let's do these top ones. I think they seem like, I mean, it seems like maybe this will just tighten up. As I button it up, it's probably the membranes and just pushing it back. I've got 2 short screws. I don't know what they're for. I think if you're going to do this yourself, perhaps worth looking at the instructions. I'm going to use this so I can feel if anything's going to break. Saying that, there's no instructions in the box. I don't know if there's some on the website. I mean, how many screws do you really need? That's the question. I mean, I'm not mad about that. That seems kind of like that should be tighter. You know what? Let's see if it works. I can figure out. See what I mean? It's got a bit of play here. That's kind of, and it's right where the USB-C charger goes in. So let's see if it works. Okay, well, it turns on. Stick a cartridge in it, that goes in. It's quite loud, the speaker, actually. It's different to the regular official hardware that's got a wheel. This is more like of a sprung switch, and I believe that's because you get some menu options. And there you go, some menu stuff in there. But it definitely works. I mean, it for sure works. Do you know what? The buttons actually feel alright. It feels a little bit lighter than the original. Somehow. Yeah, it feels lighter in the hand for whatever reason. Not doing very well here. See, now that wasn't working there. Couldn't get a positive press there on the button. Okay, now I'm just playing Tetris and recording it, which is kind of silly. So I need to investigate what's going on here, because that to me doesn't feel right. So after messing around for a little while trying to make the fit and finish of this a little bit better, I ended up taking out the short screws in the bottom and replacing them with long ones, and it has made a bit of a difference. But you can see there is still a little bit of play in the case. So at the end of the day, it is a kit that you build from scratch, and maybe that's just how it is. I may open it one more time and see if I can get it any better, but ultimately I'm pretty pleased with it, and I think it's actually quite a good facsimile for the original, albeit this has a modded shell and screen. So they're kind of comparable in terms of shell, but this one has obviously got the added advantage of being USB-C rechargeable, which I could of course do to this, but I haven't. So something that may do in the future. I don't think this has an IR sensor, whereas the original does, but it does keep the link port, so that's good. Yet to try it, but I think that'd be pretty cool to see how that works together. But overall, I think it's pretty good. This FPGA versus the Analogue Pocket FPGA, however, is a slightly different kettle of fish, because obviously on the Analogue Pocket you are able to load on your own ROMs because it has a micro SD card, whereas this is purely intended for you to use your original cartridges with. That said, the cost of building one of these from a kit is around $83. I paid for everything: shell, buttons, membranes, and the kit itself, including the screen and the battery, which came to about £66 here in the UK, delivered including tax and import duty. If you're going to try and do this same modification here in the UK, you're going to pay at least 60 quid for the donor console, then add on your shell. The screen, I think, was about 25 quid off the top of my head, but that's been in there for a while, so I don't know if the price of those have gone up. Then if you wanted to add the USB-C charging and the rechargeable battery, you know, you're going to be looking at maybe 150 quid upwards to get the same results as you get on the FP GBC. Ultimately, the FP GBC has the same gaming experience as you get on the original, and it's obviously available brand new now, and you get the fun of building it yourself. Let me know, is it something that you would do? Do you fancy building your own console? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.